Hello and welcome to BharatShakti.in. I'm Brigadier Chatterjee. We are going to be talking about Jammu and Kashmir today. Like everybody has seen, there's been a sudden spike in the level of violence in Jammu and Kashmir. But there's something slightly peculiar about it this time, and that is we see more violence south of Pir Panjal in the Jammu region rather than north of Pir Panjal in the valley. Now, what could be the reasons for this? Is this a new game plan by the Pakistanis? They have enough problems of their own. Do they still find time for problems to create problems for us? To answer these questions, come out with his assessments. I have with me somebody who's amply qualified for the subject because he's had long tenures over here. Lieutenant General R.R. Nimborkar. General Nimborkar was the Corps Commander, 16 Corps. He's retired as the Master General of Ordnance of Indian Army. Welcome to Bharat Shakti, General.
Thank you. Firstly, and I must say it's a unique honor to be here on your platform.
An honor for us also, General. General, if I may ask the first question, can you give us an assessment of the internal security situation in Jammu and Kashmir as a whole, with perhaps a little emphasis on the uh, issue of there being more violence south of Pir Panjal rather than north of Pir Panjal? And I know you're amply qualified for it. You've had a lot of tenures over there in Jammu and Kashmir.
Yeah, definitely. Just about a minute or so, I take that. I served about for 15 and a half years in Jammu and Kashmir. I was in Daras, Ladakh, where we had operations, and then in Baramulla, Kupara, in the thick of the situation in 93, 94, 95. Then I was a company commander down below, then a battalion commander in Sundarbani when this south of Pir Panjal had started. Then I was a GOC of Victor Force and finally exited the valley when I was after commanding 16 Corps.
You will know
Having said,
every inch of Kashmir. I said you will know every inch of Kashmir, perhaps.
uh, hopefully, as they say, yes, I can say that, and I don't want to brag about it, but I can, yes, I'm proud of the fact that I know lots of areas of the Kashmir. Uh, about the questions what you asked, you see the situation in the valley and south of Kashmir. Now, if you allow me to go back to the history as to how it started. See, situation in Kashmir in 90s to 96 was pretty bad, and there was nothing down south in Jammu, in south of Pir Panjal. To an extent that people had thought that Kashmir Valley was already liberated, and then we fought back and gained entire thing and got Kashmir Valley under our control in 1996. And thereafter, Pakistan thought that they must do something different, and they wanted to increase the arc of militancy, as what they claimed that time. And they formed Hizbul Mujahideen Pir Panjal Regiment to operate south of Pir Panjal. And what we thought that Jammu region is peaceful then also. Therefore, 1997 and 98, Pakistan started this insurgency south of Pir Panjal. There are two important things. Firstly, the terrain. You're all aware it's very difficult in the higher ridges south of Pir Panjal. That is starting from Anganpatri right down when you go to Delta Force. That is Doda and Kishtwar. Very, very difficult terrain. That was very good for them. Secondly, all these Bakarwals and when they move, these nomadic tribes, they could take them along with them, and in their garb, they could make their bases on the heights. Third and most important, we had no forces except 10 div and 25 div on the line of control. And the border or the LC is very, very porous, right from Chenab River up to Anganpatri and further beyond. It's very, very porous. And unless you stop it, you man it by a man every inch, you cannot stop the infiltration. So therefore, they started infiltration in very heavy manner. There are OGWs in different places. There are at least about 200 to 250 south of Pir Panjal. And then there is a massacre started. You know the Prankot massacre, Port Chilwal massacre. And there's so many massacres. The Hindus came down. And the situation became very difficult. And then Indian Army decided to put in 39 infantry div. There was more number of troops. Romeo force was raised. Further, then uniform force was raised, and with great difficulty, we managed to bring this under control. And even then, Doda and Kishtwar were very difficult, but we fought by inch and managed to get the militancy under total control. Even then, it was it was becoming difficult because the flow of militants was starting coming to through the line of control. And we must give credit to General NC Wich, who was a DGMO in 98, 99. And when he became a chief, he had learned that if you have to stop the infiltration, you have to have entire fence. And he was the architect of the fence. He started Operation Diwar. The fence was created, and the LC was patrolled. Every inch of LC down below in 16 Corps was visited by at least a troop after every 2.5 minutes. And therefore, the infiltration came down to a trickle. And that was the thing, we can say the Jammu region became peaceful. Counter-terrorism grid was in place, LC grid was in place. And as a result, what happened? It became very peaceful, and it gave us a complacency. And then we moved out Victor Uniform Force, creating a gap. And that last 2 years, now Romeo Force could not manage. The troops on the LC also reduced. And therefore, the situation what we see now, they got about 2 to 2.5 years to rest, recoup, form, entire, elevate their OGW networks. And now is the situation where probably, unless we act, they are in quite a bit of control.
Right, Jill, my next issue is this time you see the violence more south of Pir Panjal, Jammu region, rather than north of Pir Panjal. No, this is a shift from the pattern that has been there all along. We've seen more violence, perhaps not. What do you have to say for about that? Is it because of dearth of troops? Is it dearth of intelligence? Like those reasons that you brought out. But why the focus of, let's say, Pakistan just across the line of control, more shifting southwards?
You have to see the two things. Firstly, if you see in the Kashmir Valley for the last about 10 years, or maybe say after 2002, there is not much of an increase or decrease. In between in 2008, there was agitational terrorism which had started. But otherwise, Kashmir Valley, we always maintained they had about 150 to 200 terrorists. We used to kill about 70 to 80 every year, and they used to recoup. So therefore, violence level neither was very high, nor it was very low. So therefore, leave out uh, Kashmir Valley. Now come down to south of Pir Panjal. South of Pir Panjal, after the fence came up, the level of violence totally dropped. And as I said, we are in total control of it. Now, what changed today? Today, it's saying that we have moved out uniform force, we have moved out people from Doda, and therefore our counter-terrorist grid south of Pir Panjal has weakened. And Pakistan, if I may offer, was looking for this chance. And LC troops have been reduced from the AIOS, anti-infiltration obstacle system, and therefore that is aiding the infiltration. And also infiltration of other area also has started. So they have built up their strength, rest, recoup, and I think there will be about 80 to 100 terrorists, maybe little more in this area, starting from Anganpatri up to Doda Kishtwar. And if I may offer, there is a chance of now, if there are this kind of terrorists who is very hardened and have a basis on top. So if they go to Doda Kishtwar and go through Wadwan Valley, that is from Afti, Gumbar, Ranmagi, and cross over to Sheshnag Valley, Chandanwadi Sheshnag, it may create a problem for Amarnath Yatra, which will end in when you say Raksha Bandhan. So we have to be careful on that count also.
See, Jal, when we took out this uniform force from there and also reduced our deployment of regular personnel along the fence, uh, what I talked about in the previous question also was, did we dilute our intelligence gathering capabilities? Because anti-terror operations depend a lot on intelligence that you've gathered.
See, I think firstly, wind gathering depends on the ground on troops. The IB gives a certain amount of inputs. They were always giving, it's still continuing. But as you say, the reduction of troops, obviously, that have denuded our in gathering capability. Notwithstanding the fact we still have various sources, but definitely the connect with the locals has gone down. The terrorist grid has anti-terrorist grid has gone down, and therefore there is definitely reduction in gaining of intelligence. Also, in addition to this, what I have learned that area of uniform force, somehow I think it has been given to the police. The police, we have already seen, we know that by experience, that police has got different job. They're good in gathering, but they cannot dominate the area. So you require so many troops, about 7,000-8,000 troops are required. Police cannot do that job, what the army does. So therefore, giving it to the police for manning the counter-terrorist grid is not correct. And as you said, that is there a dilution of gathering? I'm afraid I must answer in the affirmative.
Right. You see, all that is happening in JNK is after all orchestrated from across the line of control by Pakistanis. Now, they have huge problems themselves, domestic problems. They have problems in Baluchistan, Gilgit Baltistan. They have a problem of political instability. They have a problem of, well, secessionist movements, etc. In spite of that, they are trying to create this kind of a problem over here. What do you have to say about that? Is this a ploy to divert attention of Pakistanis from their domestic problems, or is this just a continuation of whatever they have been doing for the last couple of years?
They have the problems, as you said, well said, and it's all well understood in various aspects and various platforms. They have got a problem, but their main reason d'etre to show themselves as the army, as the political bosses, is the instability in Kashmir. And we have, I'm afraid, we have given them a chance, to increase the arc of militancy south of Pir Panjal by, as I again reiterate, by reducing the troops on both in the anti-terrorist grid as well as on the LC. So therefore, this is a very low-cost option for them, and they grabbed it with both hands. So unless we take a corrective measures, uh, they will keep on doing this. And all those problems, notwithstanding Baluchistan, Afghanistan, political uncertainty, there already apparatus in place in terms of this cannon fodder of terrorists. So therefore, they'll keep on sending them, and this has started showing result probably. And also, I think the Pakistanis wanted to show that this Article 3 has made no difference, which I think is not the case. This is, I think, where we have faltered a little.
One word about this infiltration into south of Pir Panjal. Are they, in your assessment, using the existing routes that they have been using traditionally, or is there any new mode of inducting terrorists into south of Pir Panjal? What is the new thing that they are playing up?
I will first take two areas. Firstly, I'll take from international border, that is Chenab River to Anganpatri, Rajstar area, that is on the boundary of 15 and 16 core. Now, the terrain varies, and there are fixed route of infiltration which you may try as much, but still the people will get into. Now, when you reduce the strength on the anti-obstacle, anti-infiltration obstacle system, definitely they'll get into our area in more strength. Now, what has happened in the Galuti area, what has happened in area of Mathyani Gala and Tarayat and all, it is because in opposite this infiltration is taken place. Where it is taken place, it's in the area of Sundarbani, it's in the area of say Naushira, also in the area of Anganpatri. And this is one sector where this is from the LC sector, which is around about 200 kilometers of LC. There definitely the reduced surveillance has made a lot of difference. The second more important thing is in the plains area, they have come out with very other means of infiltration, and that primary was using the tunnels, and it has happened in the Lucknow sector. It has also happened in the opposite the Pathankot sector, and probably is still happening. I am not very sure because otherwise, so many people coming is difficult. And not to forget, when the people in the valley are there, the Mughal Road has opened up, and also reverse migration from the Kashmir Valley to its south of Pir Panjal also may take place. And the last but not the least, uh, we used to have a kind of a reverse migration, the people coming from Nepal. coming on our various fake passports and coming and getting in the huge numbers. That was the modus operandi in 1213. Probably this route also has been activated.
Right. You see, there's such attacks as we're seeing now, and quite a few of them. These cannot be really executed by the infiltrators, the terrorists, without a lot of support being given by OGWs, as you just talked about earlier, overground workers, I'm talking about. So, what has actually been done to ensure that the OGW network is smashed? I think the precursor to getting an upper hand on the over the terrorists lies in being able to suppress the OGWs properly.
You're absolutely right. Because without the ground support, with the local support, without the OGW, as we call them, they cannot survive. And the OGW, what do they do? They take them, they act as guides, they have their caches, they give them food, they give them intelligence. So all these things are there. The OGWs per se were always there in the areas. Now, only thing is when everything was quiet south of Pir, they are not very active. Now, when the activation has started, the OGW also started activation. And therefore, we do have a list of OGWs. I mean, I'm quite certain that we know who are the OGWs. So we'll have to act very tough on them, integrate J&K police into a network, and get more amount of information from them. They are very good in gathering intelligence, much better than us. So therefore, we use them in our grid to get the intelligence about these OGWs, what are happening, about the Bakarwals who are taking them along, about the guides which are there. And again, if you take back your mind to the earlier days, 2006, 7, maybe 5, these OGWs were so strong in helping them. They had made the concrete bunkers just south of Chor Punjab, in that area of Poonch and beyond. And we had to carry out a very strong operation called Sarp Vinash, where we broke the back of these people. And then after that, they started dwindling. So this, what you're saying, the ODW network needs to be smashed, needs to be handled very harshly and firmly.
I will also want you to comment on the amount of local support. Uh, Such incidents, again, they require a certain amount of local support. The terrorists can't live without any local support. Is there some sort of a growth in the local support being extended over this last 2, 3 years or so to the
For this,
terrorists?
I must say that the local support, I don't think it has increased. Neither it has decreased. Now, the terrain is so peculiar that near the LC, they get a basis, especially beyond Naushera. Down south Naushera to Aknur, even on the line of control, we have a non-supportive population to the terrorists. But beyond that, there is a supportive population to the terrorists that help them infiltrate. And then there in the intermediate range, again, they have a supportive base. And of course, beyond that, they have a whole lot of people which support them. And major, as I said earlier, is the nomadic population, which keep on shifting, which is a very, very useful tool for them in helping in all the things, intelligence gathering, giving them shelters, giving them food, and also giving them inputs about various operations which are carried out by the security forces. So as the bottom line is that yes, the support is there. It has not increased nor it has decreased.
There are some reports that Pakistani SSG commandos, uh, perhaps retired commandos, they have been inducted. Is there anything that you have to say on that?
This kind of reports, we always been getting, and not only now in the valley also, we used to have one or two people which they were good organizers, and they used to organize and try and recruit the local youth in Kashmir. But this side, on the south of Pir Panjal, there is a very less local component, and therefore these people might have come in. Yes, probably, like I said, they had raised earlier Hizbul Mujahideen, Pir Panjal regiment. They also had a SSG, then retired. So now also probably few elements of SSG will be there. But whether SSG or no SSG, I can assure you that Indian Army is well geared up in the form of our RR troops and also two or three special forces battalion. We can take care of them. So, and there should be no worry about that SSG coming and getting recruited. They will be there. They are there, and they will be taken care of. I'm not boasting, but after having seen on the ground our operation, I say we can take care of them very easily.
Okay. Now, there's been a lot of technology which has come in perhaps since your days also. There is much more technology available to the soldier right up in front. Oh, are these technologies being utilized for surveillance or for tracking terrorist movement, etc.? And to what extent would that suffice in terms of sparing manpower from such jobs?
I think a very, very pertinent question at this stage. See, over the years, the commanders on the ground have been telling the people that yes, we do need technology. And I can quote my army commander, who was General Huda. He was a proponent of using technology. And we had together tried in 16 Corps a smart fence, something called a smart fence, which actually would have reduced troops. It was accepted in some places, we established in some places. Subsequently, to our horror, it has gone that that project has not been taken further. If that would have been there, as you say, the troops would have been reduced, efficiency would have been increased, and infiltration would have been curtailed to a great extent. In fact, in any case, it was curtailed, but our troop deployment would have definitely decreased. Second is, we used to, in say 2000 till 2015, 16, we should depend on the information gathered from various agencies and mainly about the location of the Thura assets, which these people used to, terrorists used to heavily use. And we could crack their location, and therefore it used to give much of an. And this was the technical intelligence. Now, what I feel, something now that has become a little old. So the newer technologies which are available, which can give us the locations, and which then we can track and destroy these chaps. So therefore, the technology which can be harnessed should be harnessed, and then that will be very effective in neutralizing these people and getting the control of the situation. And I am not a proponent of what had happened earlier. We had something called TSD, something of this nature. If it comes up and very utilized it very properly for getting intelligence and giving it to the troops, I think it will be very, very useful. Apart from this, we had a surveillance system which mainly used to be based on LOROS, and they were very few in number. No, LOROS has a large range, about 20 kilometers. We could get from 3 to 4 kilometers, but we could track the terrorists in the night and we could neutralize them in many of the places. So the physical surveillance, the obstacle, which is smart system, can be used, and thirdly is detection through various technological means. It is required. Still, it is not happened, but there is a room for improvement. And last but not the least, the tunnels which are there, which they have created number of times in the Akru sector and in the Pathankot sector. Today we have a technology to detect it at least about 10 meters down in depth. So these are available in the market with the private players. I think they should be harnessed and utilized for detecting the infiltration.
Uh, my last question to you, General. We are aware that at least today's newspaper reads that there are about 3,000 additional troops which have been sent to J&K to fill up gaps, etc., whatever we are talking about. Do you think it's time we did something big like we did for Balakot or we did the cross-border strikes, etc.? Because this violence level has been going up and it doesn't show any sign of abating.
To be very frank, I don't think any strike, etc., would make much of a difference. We'll go inside, we'll kill few or few hundreds, but that will not deter our adversary from taking this actions which they are taking. No, because whatever they are taking now, the actions they are taking are very, very low cost option for them, and they can raise their hand and say, "This is like they have been saying, it is not our baby. You do whatever you want to do." Like as a corps commander, when we used to have a flag meeting, we used to say, "Why are you sending the terrorists?" No, he says they are not under our control. If you can stop them, stop them. So, it is very, very difficult to say that no kind of action which are taken. Those are for different things which happen for a particular incidences we are taken. This is a generalized state which is there. For a generalized state, how many strikes will you take inside? Probably it may not give us the dividends which we are looking for and which we got when we did these things.
Right. Thank you, General. I think we'll end it on that note today. Thank you so much for having spared your time for Bharat Shakti.
Thank you so much. It has been wonderful interacting with you, and I personally feel very happy that I have been able to put forth my views, whatever experience I had gained. And as you say, 300 troops or 3,000 troops which have come, it will not. We require some more troops. We require more of smart technology in terms of AIOS. We also require technology in terms of detective and communication, etc. Thank you very much. It's been pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, General. And thank you, viewers. Thanks for tuning into BharatShakti.in. Do tune in like this now and then, and you will find such interesting topics being discussed. Thank you.